The alien fleet loomed in the void, a sprawling armada of sleek, menacing warships bristling with advanced weaponry. Their commanders, gathered on the flagship, watched with amusement as the lone human vessel drifted into view. It was a relic, a hulking mass of outdated metal and primitive design, dwarfed by the alien ships. The aliens laughed, their voices echoing through the comms. "Is this a joke?" one sneered. "This is what humanity sends to face us? A floating scrap heap." The human warship, the Eclipse, remained silent, its hull scarred and unimpressive. The aliens mocked its lack of visible armament, its sluggish movements, its apparent helplessness. They had expected a fight, but this was pitiful. The alien admiral, a towering figure with a voice like grinding stone, opened a channel to the Eclipse. "Human vessel, you are outmatched and outnumbered. Surrender now, or be erased from existence." The response came not from the ship's captain, but from a low, steady hum that began to resonate through the Eclipse's hull. The aliens dismissed it as the sound of a failing reactor, another sign of humanity's incompetence. They prepared to fire, confident that a single volley would reduce the Eclipse to dust. But as their weapons charged, the hum grew louder, more intense, until it seemed to vibrate to the very fabric of space. The Eclipse's captain, a figure of calm determination, watched the alien fleet through the view screen. They had anticipated this moment, planned for it. The alien saw weakness, but the captain saw opportunity. The Eclipse was not what it appeared to be. Beneath its unassuming exterior lay a weapon unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The captain gave the order, and the Eclipse's systems came to life. The hum reached a crescendo, and a beam of pure energy lanced out from the ship, striking the lead alien vessel. For a moment, there was silence. Then the alien ship disintegrated, torn apart by forces beyond comprehension. The alien fleet froze, their laughter replaced by shock and disbelief. The Eclipse fired again, and another ship vanished, reduced to nothingness. Panic spread to the alien ranks as they realized their mistake. This was no relic, no outdated warship. This was a predator, and they were its prey. The alien admiral barked orders, demanding a counterattack, but it was too late. The Eclipse moved with purpose now, its weapon cutting through the fleet like a scythe through wheat. The aliens scrambled to retreat, but the Eclipse was relentless. One by one, their ships were erased, until only a handful remained, fleeing into the void. The Eclipse stood alone amidst the wreckage, its hull glowing faintly from the energy it had unleashed. The captain allowed themselves a moment of quiet reflection. They had known the aliens would underestimate humanity, had counted on it, but the cost of victory weighed heavily. The Eclipse was a weapon of last resort, a reminder of the lengths humanity would go to protect itself. The captain turned their gaze to the stars, knowing that this was only the beginning. The galaxy would not soon forget what had happened here, and neither would humanity. The Eclipse's weapon, now fully activated, hummed with an otherworldly resonance that seemed to warp the fabric of space itself. The alien fleet, moments ago a symbol of invincibility, now scrambled in disarray. The singularity cannon, humanity's crowning achievement, was no mere weapon. It was a force of nature harnessed into a single, devastating beam. The aliens had no frame of reference for what they were witnessing. Their sensors screamed warnings, their commanders shouted conflicting orders, but it was already too late. The Eclipse fired again, and another ship vanished, swallowed by a micro-black hole that collapsed in on itself, leaving nothing but empty space where a warship had once been. The alien admiral, once so confident, now stood frozen on the bridge of their flagship. Their mind raced, trying to comprehend the impossible. How could humanity, a species they had dismissed as primitive, possess such power? The admiral's thoughts were interrupted as the Eclipse turned its attention to flagship. The beam struck, and for a brief moment, the admiral felt the universe itself unravel around them. Then there was nothing. The flagship, along with its crew, was gone, erased as if it had never existed. The remaining alien ships, now leaderless and terrified, attempted to flee, but the Eclipse was relentless. Its weapons cycled again, and another ship was consumed. The aliens' advanced technology, their shields and armor, were useless against the sheer destructive force of the singularity cannon. They had no defense, no countermeasure. Their arrogance had blinded them to the possibility that humanity could surpass them, and now they paid the price. On the Eclipse, the crew worked with quiet efficiency. There was no celebration, no gloating. They had a mission, and they carried out with precision. The captain watched the destruction unfold, their expression unreadable. They had known this moment would come, had prepared for it, but that didn't make it any easier. The weight of what they were doing, the lives they were taking, hung heavy in the air. But the captain also knew that this was necessary. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, and the Eclipse was their answer, a statement that they would not be underestimated again. As the last of the alien ships was destroyed, the Eclipse fell silent. The hum of the Singularity cannon faded, leaving only the quiet hum of the ship's engines. The crew took a moment to collect themselves, to process what had just happened. They had won, but the cost was immense. The captain turned to their first officer, a trusted ally who had been with them from the beginning. "Send a message to Earth," the captain said, their voice steady. "Tell them it's done." The first officer nodded and began transmitting the report. The message was brief, just a few words, but it carried the weight of what had just transpired. The Eclipse had done its job, but the captain knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would not ignore what had happened here. The aliens would regroup, or others would take their place. Humanity had made a statement, but it was one that would have consequences. The captain turned their gaze to the stars, their mind already racing with thoughts of what came next. The Eclipse was a symbol of humanity's strength, but it was also a reminder of their vulnerability. They had won this battle, but the war was far from over. The captain took a deep breath, steadying themselves for the challenges ahead. They had made their choice, and now they would see it through, no matter the cost. The Eclipse would stand as a beacon of humanity's resilience, a warning to any who would threaten them, and the captain would ensure that it did. The survivors of the alien fleet, those few ships that had managed to escape the Eclipse S-RAF, returned to their empire in disarray. Their reports were fragmented, filled with disbelief and terror. The once proud commanders now spoke of a weapon that defied understanding, a force that could erase entire fleets with a single shot. The alien leaders, gathered in their grand council chambers, listened in stunned silence. They had dismissed humanity as a minor species, a footnote in the annals of galactic history. But now, they were forced to confront a reality they had never imagined. Humanity was not weak. They were dangerous. The council erupted into chaos. Some demanded immediate retaliation, a show of force to crush humanity before they could grow stronger. Others urged caution, warning that they did not yet understand the full extent of humanity's capabilities. The Empire's scientists, meanwhile, were fascinated. They pored over the scant data from the battle, trying to make sense of the Eclipse S weapon. How had humanity developed such technology? What were its limits? And most importantly, could it be replicated? The answers eluded them, and their frustration grew with each passing moment. On Earth, humanity's leaders watched the fallout with a mixture of relief and apprehension. The Eclipse had done its job, but the cost was high. The galaxy now knew of humanity's strength, but that knowledge came with a price. The alien empire would not forget this humiliation, and others would take notice. Humanity had secured a place at the galactic table, but it was a precarious one. The leaders knew they had to tread carefully, balancing strength with diplomacy. They issued a statement, brief and to the point. Humanity desired peace, but they would defend themselves if threatened. The message was clear, but its reception was uncertain. The alien empire, meanwhile, was in turmoil. The military, once the pride of the empire, was now a source of shame. Their commanders were disgraced, their strategies questioned. The scientists, though intrigued by humanity's technology, were also wary. They warned that underestimating humanity had already cost the empire dearly, and that further aggression could lead to even greater losses. The council was divided, with no clear path forward. Some advocated for a temporary retreat, a chance to regroup and reassess. Others called for a diplomatic approach, an attempt to understand humanity, rather than confront them. But there were still those who thirsted for revenge, who saw the Eclipse S victory as a personal insult. Amidst the chaos, a single voice rose above the rest. An elder statesman, one of the few who had seen the rise and fall of countless species, addressed the council. "We have made a grave error," they said. "We underestimated humanity and we paid the price. But this is not the end. It is an opportunity. Humanity has shown us that strength comes in many forms. Perhaps it is time we learn from them, rather than sought to destroy them." The council fell silent, considering the elders' words. It was a radical idea, one that went against centuries of imperial doctrine. But the alternative, continued conflict with a species that had already proven its resilience, was unthinkable. The Empire's leaders began to shift their approach. They reached out to humanity, not with threats, but with offers of dialogue. They proposed a meeting, a chance to discuss the future of their two species. Humanity's leaders, wary but pragmatic, agreed. The meeting was tense, with both sides keenly aware of the stakes. But for the first time, there was a glimmer of hope. The Empire, humble but not defeated, began to see humanity not as a threat to be crushed, but as a potential ally. And humanity, though cautious, recognized the opportunity to secure their place in the galaxy. The eclipse, meanwhile, became a symbol. To humanity, it was a reminder of their strength and ingenuity. To the aliens, it was a warning, a testament to the consequences of underestimating others. The ship's crew, though hailed as heroes, remained focused on their mission. They knew that their victory was just a beginning, and that the challenges ahead would be even greater. But they also knew that they had changed the galaxy forever. The balance of power had shifted, and humanity was no longer a footnote. They were a force to be reckoned with, and the eclipse would ensure that the galaxy never forgot it. The galaxy had changed. The eclipse's victory reverberated across star systems, its impact felt by every species, from the mightiest empires to the smallest colonies. Humanity, once dismissed as insignificant, now commanded respect. The alien empire, humble but not broken, began to reassess its place in the galactic order. Their leaders, once so confident in their superiority, now approached humanity with caution, even deference. The balance of power had shifted, and the galaxy was forced to adapt. Humanity's leaders, though wary of their newfound status, recognized the opportunity before them. They reached out to other species, offering alliances and trade agreements. The eclipse became a symbol not just of humanity's strength, but of their willingness to protect those who could not protect themselves. The ship's crew, though weary from their battles, took pride in their role. They knew that their actions had not only saved humanity, but had also given others hope. The galaxy, long dominated by a single empire, now had a chance for something new, a chance for balance, for cooperation. The alien empire, though still powerful, was no longer unchallenged. Their leaders, chastened by their defeat, began to reform their policies. They reached out to humanity, not with threats, but with offers of partnership. The elder statesman who had spoken in the council became a key figure in these negotiations, advocating for a new approach. "We cannot continue as we have," they said. "The galaxy is changing, and we must change with it." The Empire's scientists, once focused on replicating humanity's technology, now sought to learn from it. They recognized that humanity's strength lay not just in their weapons, but in their creativity, their resilience. The eclipse continued its missions, patrolling the edges of human space and beyond. Its crew, though small, was fiercely dedicated. They knew that their work was far from over. The galaxy was vast, and there were still those who sought to exploit others, to dominate through fear and force. But the eclipse stood as a reminder that such tactics would not go unchallenged. The ship's captain, though burdened by the weight of their responsibilities, remained steadfast. They had seen the cost of war, but they also knew the value of peace, and they were determined to protect it. On Earth, humanity celebrated their victory, but they also prepared for the future. The eclipse was just the beginning. New ships were being built, new technologies developed. Humanity's leaders knew that their place in the galaxy was not guaranteed, that they would have to fight to maintain it. But they also knew that they had something the aliens did not, a willingness to adapt, to learn, to grow. The eclipse had shown them that strength came in many forms, and that true power lay not in domination, but in unity. The alien empire, though still grappling with its defeat, began to see the value in this approach. They reached out to other species, offering alliances and trade agreements. The galaxy, once divided, began to come together. The eclipse became a symbol of this new era, a reminder that even the smallest species could change the course of history. The ship's crew, though they would never seek glory, knew that they played a part in something greater than themselves. They had not just defended humanity. They had helped to shape the future of the galaxy. As the eclipse set out on its next mission, the captain looked out at the stars. They knew that the challenges ahead would be great, but they also knew that they were not alone. Humanity had proven itself, not just to the aliens, but to itself. They had shown that they could stand against the odds, that they could protect what mattered most. And as long as the eclipse flew, they would continue to do so. The galaxy was vast and the future uncertain, but humanity was ready, and the eclipse would lead the way.